Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Freedom, Flexibility, and Finances. My name is Chris Angel, here with your host, Pete Weller. Peter Weller, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's episode 3, and we are diving into something you call Net Life Now, and I'm interested in this because I've never heard of this before. I'm guessing it's your coined language. Yes?
There's some coin to it, and there's also some other people that talk about net life, and
Okay.
it's kind of in the league of coaches that I've been running with.
Yeah.
And it's talking about how do you know when you've arrived? How do you know if you've done everything that you can and getting what you need?
Yeah. I think that's important because as business people, we're often thinking, we got into business for, a life. Like we had a vision of what life could be like. So I'm curious to unpack this Net Life Now from where you sit and how you see it. So kind of talk me through it. Like, what is Net Life Now?
So one of the things that we look at when we first get into business that we don't talk about and society doesn't talk about is net profit. And net profit is what we actually get paid on from the owner's perspective.
Yeah.
So when we start looking at net profit, we keep chasing that number, that invisible ghost, the unicorn, to grow that net profit to be able to build our lifestyle. Yet a lot of times what we forget is when we step back and look at it, we gave up our freedom and our flexibility because we're chasing the net in business.
Yeah.
So instead of chasing the net in business, we coined the phrase net life now. We want to chase a net life now.
Yeah.
We don't want it down the road. We don't want it for someday. We want it now. And what does a net life look like to you? If everything's perfect, you've got enough money and you've got enough time for working, what does it look like? How much do you spend with your family?
Here's my question for you on that. Is that, I've heard that a lot of times, that question, right? Like, what does life look like? What do you want it to look like? And I think even for me, look, I've asked that question a lot. And even for me, sometimes I get a little bit like, what do I want my life to look like? Isn't that weird?
It is. And, one of the questions that always goes with that is, where do you want to be 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Right out loud, I can't even see to the end of the week. What makes you think I can see the end of 5 years?
Yeah. So this is the actual crux of it, I think, because for me to pursue Net Life Now, I have to know what net life I want. So how do we access that? Because I think it's harder than just like sitting down with a journal and being like, well, what I want is, this kind of a house with this kind of a car. Like, there's more to it. How do we find that?
Yeah, so there's the difference between want and actually desire.
Okay.
So want is something like, I want a chocolate bar 90% of the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Desire, I would like to have a nice steak dinner. Okay.
Okay.
So
okay.
One is something that is a nice thing to do, and chocolate is great. My family's going to get on me for saying, hey, don't have a chocolate bar every chance you get. Trust me, have a chocolate bar every chance you get.
Yeah.
Yet, when we look at some of the things that we do we pause in the middle of the day when we realize that we could impact a family member or somebody that we care about with a conversation? Or are we too busy that we can't hit pause on our time to be able to take care of that relationship that matters most to us?
Yeah.
So that's the net life. When you start setting standards around what's important, well, relationships are important to me. So I want the rest of my day, I want my business to be able to hit pause so that I can have those conversations with my partners, with people that I'm in business with my friends, with my family.
Yeah.
And that comes back to actually categorizing relationships and where they are in your world so that you can be able to know, do I pause for this person or do I not?
Right. I'm curious so you're talking about relationships, but it's not just relationships. It can be other things that are important to us.
Correct. Have you ever met the person that's a good fisherman or like me that loves airplanes?
Okay. Yeah.
I believe that you can have a relationship with your hobby. It takes time away from your family. It takes time away from work, and you've got to go spend some time with that to be good at it.
Yeah.
Or to enjoy fishing, you've got to be able to shut down and relax.
Yeah.
And that's you time. That's part of the net life.
Right. That was the thing. this week was thinking like one of my assignments from a program that I'm in was about like, look, go plan a date for yourself. And I thought, look, I think like any entrepreneur, I put my head down and I go to work and I sort of forget what my hobbies or interests are. And I was like, well, what would I do? I didn't even know what I would do.
Right. I've recently found myself going, what do I like to do for fun?
Yeah.
You know, I
Right.
like to build businesses for fun.
I know. Me too.
I like to impact people.
Yeah.
And I've meshed my life. So we go over to Top Golf. We hit some golf balls while we're talking about business.
That's
So
cool.
there's some lifestyle to it. You know,
Mhm.
I go down to the local pub here called Greenfields, and we shoot pool. And what I've developed is there's relationships that show in and out of that. And we
Yeah.
play a game of pool and we talk about life, we talk about business, and I get to relax and play pool, which is something I really enjoy.
I think one of the things I'm liking in this conversation so far is like there's this, in order to really pursue net life now, you have to know what net life you want. And in that, some things you may already know, you may already have hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be some things like where I was at this week, which was like, I don't even know what I would go do. And so there are like inklings or nudges where you're like, maybe I should try kayaking, or maybe I should try this thing. I've never done it before. Maybe I could take a cooking class, but these things are other ways for you to explore getting the most out of life right now so you can find your preferences.
Right.
Did you ever see Runaway Bride?
I did.
I took my wife to it like when I was going to propose to her like forever ago. And she had that scene where she had to go figure out what kind of eggs she liked.
Mm-hmm.
She always would say like whatever kind of eggs of the person she was dating. And then at some point she got to a life where she's like, I need to figure out what I like. And she had to go try all these different kinds of eggs.
Right. So it's trying it on and
Yeah.
what you find out.
Right.
You know, she found out what she really enjoyed so that she could order that.
Yeah.
Created
Okay.
a slice of life.
That's good. I feel like that's really important because without knowing what you're pursuing, how could you possibly go after net life now? You would just, it wouldn't actually be you having a net life. It would be you having more of the same. So that feels like a step one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's a question with it is if you are enjoying a lifestyle and people are saying you are absolutely crazy, you're probably pretty close to finding your net life.
Okay. What do you mean? Tell me about that.
So, you know, it's like you're doing this, you're talking to people, you're talking outside of the realm of thinking that they normally operate in.
Yeah.
And they start saying, well, that's crazy talk. Nobody could do that. Well, you know, there's different types of people out there, and some of them work that 9-to-5 job, and you go get a job, you work there, you retire, and that's the way life is. You know, when we start talking about entrepreneurs, they detached half of our brain, threw away some of the screws and said, go for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is the crazy talk that comes out of us. Like if I only talk to 20 people a day and I have 5 really good, 5 conversations out of that where I talk about business and one really good one where I connect, a year from now, my life's going to look completely different. Yeah, but what do? I go talk to people.
Yeah.
That sounds completely crazy to anybody that has a regular job.
Right. Yeah. In fact, you were telling me before about like your family having like what are you doing? What is this thing? This bulldoggity? What do you like your work?
Right. So there's a couple of different ways to look at it. The way I look at it is if I help one person change their entire life, I have accomplished my mission on the face of this planet. Right. Yet when you look at this and you don't have perspective from where I have perspective, instead of calling it bulldoggity, could it be called bullshittery? The absolute answer is yes.
Right.
So it's where are you at in your world, where are you at in your thinking, and what do you need from life? And it's what's the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think that takes a lot of conviction. Like, I mean, it's easy, in the E-Myth Revisited, right? Michael Gerber talks about the entrepreneurial seizure. And so we have these moments where like I'm going to go become a real estate agent because I'll have freedom, flexibility, and money. Right. And we get our license and off we go. And we have this moment, this seizure where we go, oh, this could be really great. And then we actually get in the game of real estate and we're like, dude, I hate my life. I don't I don't want to pick up a phone. I don't want to talk. Like
what did I do to myself?
What did I, yeah, right. Right. So I think part of what you just said was it takes perspective for you to know, like you would think other people think you're crazy
Hmm.
for the decisions you've made. But it takes conviction to stay the course as a business owner
Right.
and recommitting to and valuing, if you will, like what it is you're trying to accomplish. I don't know. I feel like that's really important. Maybe this sounds really obvious, but I feel like 17 years into my own business, it's like there's a constant like revaluing what I'm trying to do in the world.
Yeah. So if we look at, so I had to define my mission. My personal mission is to help as many people as I can to get a little farther down the road. I'm not trying to make them millionaires. I'm not trying to set them up for their forever dream. I'm just trying to help them get from where they're at now, pointed in a direction that aligns with their vision and their mission.
Yeah.
And to help as many people as I can, what is that number? Well, that comes down to one really good conversation every single day. And those conversations come around if they have the light bulb go off and we set some standards around our life saying, look, from 8 to 5, when my spouse is off to work, I'm going to bust my butt as hard as possible. And then when she comes home or he comes home, I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to play just as hard. Yet if there's some business that needs to overlap, I'm going to have a standard that I'll have that conversation before I have to steal time from that person.
Right.
And it's, we learned a long time ago, if it's on your calendar and you erase it, you've got to replace it.
Right.
So same things apply in relationships, that if we promise somebody some time, be a man of your word, be a woman of your word, and follow through.
Yeah.
Yet there's times where we volunteer and we overstep our boundaries of what our standards are, and we get into it and then we go, cool, I promised, yet I'm not feeling good about this. So if you're not feeling good, that's part of that net life. If you're making a negative amount of dollars on your business 12 months in a row, how many more months are you going to continue down this path before you make a change?
Right.
Why do we let our emotions be negative for long periods of time when we don't allow it in our business?
Yeah. Right. Well, that's the question then, right? Because in Net Life Now, that's asking the question, am I living my net life now, would call that into question, like, no, I'm not, or yes, I am. And if I'm not, then how long am I willing to put up with that? Right? Because till I get there, because I got into this business specifically for life, for what my life could look like.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of real estate agents who put up with their current circumstance, not considering their net life now.
I also think it's a choice. I think that you have to choose freedom. I think that you have to choose flexibility. And I think you have to choose finances.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people take the freedom and the flexibility with real estate before they actually get their finances in order. So it's maximizing all three of them to pull in that net life together.
Got it.
I talked to an agent yesterday. Things are going great at home. He's got money in the bank account. There's food on the table. And he knows that he can make it 12 months without having to come up with money to pay for bills.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I have not arrived, yet I'm at a space where I can relax a little bit and enjoy what's going on around me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that was exciting. That was a conversation 2 years ago about these three things. And yesterday he called me just to let me know,
wow,
man, I've got all three and they're all in balance and I'm having the time of my life. And that's what it's about.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Net Life Now. It's so good. I love that when I think of that 3-word phrase, Net Life Now, it really brings me to like the present moment. I think a lot of times in business, it's like we're always doing things for the future. Like I'll make money and then I'll have something. But like Net Life Now, if I just say that, brings me to like today and how I could live this life in a way that today that feels fulfilling. I love that.
Correct. And it gets away from the shame. It gets away from the blame. It's you being you to the best of your ability, hour by hour, minute by minute, and you're achieving your goals and your dreams.
So give me like a couple steps sort of in summary here of how do people access their net life now? Like, what are the things that are important to kind of align with our net life now?
So, Daryl Hardy talks about it in the compound effect, bookends.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time in the morning and the time in the evening where you actually get centered on your business, on your life, on your spirituality, on your finances.
Yeah.
So you check in on all of these things first thing in the morning. Then you go do all of your tasks and work through it. And then at the end of the day, you check out. Just like in retail, you have to balance the cash drawer, the register.
Yeah.
Check out. How well did I do today?
Mm.
Did I move the ball forward? Did I move the ball backwards? Did it stay the same?
Yeah.
What sort of penalties? And then we learned from several great coaches, you want to journal about it. You want to write your story down so that you can learn from what you're doing well and what you're not. So I think that's step one and step two. Get your bookends in order.
Yeah.
And then start journaling about it. The quickest way to find out if you're on track or not is to keep score.
Mm.
We do that in professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that a lot of people just keep score at tax time, which is once a year.
Mm.
They need to keep score more often.
Yeah.
So part 3 would be put your scorecard together. What's important to you?
Got it. And then don't judge it, because it'd be easy to judge it.
Yeah. And it is what it is.
It is what it is. Right.
Go,
and then just do better tomorrow.
Yeah. Go to neutral in your emotions when you're reviewing it at the end of the day. Don't get frustrated. Don't get mad with yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're mad with yourself, look in the mirror, fire yourself at night. The next morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, you're a good looking guy or a good looking gal.
Yeah.
I think you should go to work for me, and go to work for yourself.
I think that there are some ways that every person would gamify their net life now differently. I think it's very custom to the person. I'm guessing, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that's the kind of conversations you have with coaching clients. When people do like an intake or a discovery call with you, I'm guessing these are some of the questions they could explore with you to see if your coaching's a fit for them. Yes?
Yeah. So we start looking at a tactical call. What are you doing right now that's working well? I don't want to change that.
Right.
What are you doing that you don't really like in your life, or what's missing in your opinion? Yeah. And then we gamify it. We come up with the bookends. Mm-hmm. We have these tactile calls frequently. Yeah. And to reach out to me, it's very easy. I'm online. I'm very accessible. www.kindalikepete.com. Yeah. KINDALIKE Pete.com. Scroll down, you'll find my personality shows up on this page. Schedule a 15, 30-minute call or a 60-minute call if you want to meet me face-to-face. If you're in Denver, schedule a face-to-face call. It's all there.
Good. I love it. So if you guys listening to this want to explore this Net Life Now conversation with Pete and actually look, guys, it's helpful to have outside perspective. Sometimes we're too close to the project of our own life. So if you want to schedule time, go to kindalikepete.com and you can schedule time with Pete there. Pete, listen, let's leave it at that, because I think there's enough curiosity now generated in this conversation for people to sort of take the next step with you at kindalikepete.com. This is a great episode, man. I love this conversation of Net Life Now. Thank you.
It's fun. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. Every time I talk about it, it relights the fire on the inside of me.
Yeah, that's the thing that I got was a fire that's been relit. I love it every time. It's so good. All right, well, this is a great episode 3. I will catch you in the next one. Thanks, Pete.